What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, I'm going to be diving into the 4K Second Sight edition of The Witch from 2016, directed by Robert Eggers, and I am so excited to talk about this one. And I just got it in the mail. I finished watching it and all the special features this morning, and I'm just really, this is one of my most anticipated releases for the whole year. This got announced in March. It was supposed to come out in May, got pushed to June, July, and now it's finally coming out and delivered at my doorstep in August, and I'm super excited to talk about it. But before we get into it, I need to ask, do you like physical media? Do you like Blu-rays, 4Ks, owning the movies that you love, all of this stuff here behind me? If the answer to all those questions is yes, then hit the subscribe button. We talk about physical media on this channel like crazy, so if you like that kind of stuff, you will definitely enjoy it. So hit the subscribe button, like this video, and comment down below, did you purchase this release? Do you plan on getting it based on my recommendation? And what do you think of the movie The Witch? I've had several conversations about this movie. I watched it back in 2016. I actually purchased the Blu-ray back in 2016. I never purchased the 4K, so I'm not going to be able to do like comparison images or talk about comparisons to the other Lionsgate 4K. But I am going to talk about this movie and the transfer and the special features and all that stuff. This really is an incredible set. So this movie is written and directed by Robert Eggers, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Ineson, and Kate Dickie. As a family in 1630s New England is torn apart by the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. So this movie came out in 2016. I think it actually premiered at a film festival in 2015. It is an A24 film. It is honestly probably my second favorite A24 film. I would put this behind Ex Machina, but it's way up there. I just love this movie so much, and it's just such an experience. Like I said, it's so rich in atmosphere and folklore. It just really nails that time period. I love a good period piece when it's done right, and you can just tell that every single dollar that Robert Eggers was given to the production of this movie was put to great use, because he just really encapsulated what it was like during this time period, not just in the aesthetic and the setting and the incredible set design and costumes of this movie, but just right down to the dialogue and the way that the characters interact with each other, the way they talk to each other. The paranoia is just so well captured during this time period, because I learned about this in the special features, but you go back to this time period, the Puritan era, and there was really, the whole witch thing was a real thing. Like, people were, the unexplainable was explained by witches, by black magic, by Satan, coming to earth and wreaking havoc. Like, if anything unexplainable happened, they would blame it on that. And it's just so different than how we handle it now. If something unexplainable happens now, like, our mind doesn't immediately go to like the dark forces or something like that. It's like, oh, well, it has to be explained somehow. We're always reaching for an explanation. So you go back during this time period and everybody's just so engulfed in paranoia. Every bad thing that happens, like a cow can't produce milk anymore. Just anything. Somebody gets sick and dies. It's like they blame it on black magic. And that paranoia is just so prevalent all throughout this movie, and the way that they incorporate it into this family that's been ousted from their community because of their extreme religious views. They have to go and make it on their own. They have to make their own farm. They have to grow their own crops, build their own houses, and they're isolated. They're on their own, and then bad things start to happen. And they all immediately start to jump to just blaming each other, and the infighting in this film, the paranoia, just the suspicion of everybody. You're the witch, you're the witch, you're the one that's doing dark magic. Like, honestly, it reminds me a lot of The Thing, which I think is why I love this one so much, because in that movie, they're all trying to figure out who's the alien. They're all isolated in this one location. In this movie, they're isolated in this one location, this house, this farm, and they're trying to figure out who's doing all this stuff, all of this magic and dark things that are happening, and they're blaming each other. So the similarities between this and John Carpenter's The Thing is really there, and I just think that Robert Eggers captures all of this stuff so well. And like I said, the paranoia, all this stuff is a real thing. It's such a well-researched movie by Robert Eggers, so I just really appreciate it for that. This movie at its core is really a religious, like, family drama. It's deeply, I love how they incorporate the aspects of religion. This family is like incredibly religious. Like I said, they're to the point where they were so extreme in their religion, they actually got kicked out of their community for being almost too religious. That's how religious this family is. So And the feeling of dread in this film that just comes from every event that happens. It's like you just feel it when you move in. You feel the death, you feel the destruction, you feel the despair as soon as they enter this, like, you know, farmland. It's just like, you know, something bad's gonna happen. You feel for them before anything has happened. And I just love that about it. It's so great how they set everything up, how they pay it off. It's just everything is, and you go into this film, and I've heard the criticism of this movie. People say it's too slow. I have to push back on that a little bit, because this film really gets started, and it gets started quick. Like, stuff starts to go down from the very beginning of this movie, and then they kind of draw back on that, and they just escalate everything else as you go, and everything just kind of brought in here and there. So I can kind of get the criticism that it's too slow. It does take its time, but it's only an hour and a half, and to be honest, I think it's incredibly well paced. And I think that if it didn't take its time like it did, the payoff at the end, the last 20 minutes of this movie, would not feel as impactful as they do if it wasn't for that slow burn and build up throughout the film itself. And the last 20 minutes, like I said, it really goes for it. If you want the gore, if you want the carnage, you are going to get it in these last 20 minutes. I just feel like it really goes for it. And the ending of this film is just like a chef's kiss. It's so perfect, the way that they portray everything. The way that this film portrays witches and covens and black magic and Satan himself just feels so incredibly realistic. And that's why I feel like it just really got to me when I watched it for the first time. It's like, if Satan was walking among us, like, this is what it would be. Like, this is exactly what it would be like. And it just felt so real, and it just really got to me, really got under my skin and scared me. I just love a movie that can scare me like this and get to me. So I love The Witch. I just love everything about it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to say about it. The ending, like I said, it's a great ending. You're not going to expect what happens at the very end of this movie. It doesn't come out of nowhere. You can go back and see how they set this up all throughout the movie, but it kind of feels so unexpected when it happens, and I just love it. I love the ending of this movie. Just such a grim horror film. I would say it's the perfect horror experience, in my opinion. And you can just tell the entire time you're watching this movie that Eggers really did his research. He grew up in New England, so he kind of surrounded himself with like this folklore of the Salem witch trials and all this stuff, all the history of New England. You can just tell he's very passionate about this material, and that shines through the film itself. So as for the movie, guys, I gotta give this a 5 out of 5. I think it's a perfect horror film. I think it's up there. I don't feel like people fully appreciate it now, but I feel like it's up there with The Shining, with An Exorcist. It's that damn good. So I love The Witch. Now, getting into the actual transfer of this movie. So this does have Dolby Vision and is an HDR presentation of the film. People were asking me, though, is this a better transfer than the 4K from Lionsgate? I know it has Dolby Vision and that one does not, but I cannot speak to this one is an actual like better transfer than that one or not. But what I can say, this is a very sharp transfer that highlights the peak of what 4K can do, in my opinion. Like, it is so incredibly detailed, just like the skin, like everybody's skin in this movie just has like a milky white tone to it. And the outfits, they're like grayish and white, and just everything is just highlighted in this film and just kind of contrasted against the kind of grayish and gloomy backdrop of this movie. I don't think the sun shines one time in this film. It's all overcasted throughout this entire movie, but the outfits and the costumes, they all just really pop with that HDR. Like I said, it is a very dark and gloomy film, which does make some of the darker scenes a little bit more difficult to see at times, if I'm being completely honest with that HDR. The black levels are incredibly deep. So maybe adjust your brightness just a tad when you go to watch this movie, because there are some scenes and sequences that are almost all at night, and I was kind of struggling there for a little bit to kind of make some stuff out. So it's incredibly dark, but it does look beautiful. Like, when it really is hitting and firing on all cylinders, it's like the best of this movie. It's definitely better. I did compare it to my Blu-ray. It's definitely better and cleaner than my Blu-ray release of the movie. So the moments of color, like the red dress, the red robe that the witch is wearing when she comes out to confront that boy, just really pops. Because like I said, everything is gloomy and gray and black and white all around her. The movie's not in black and white, but it's just such a a dull aesthetic around everything. So when she steps out and she's wearing that bright red robe, that really stands out with the HDR. And like I said, the ending of this movie, you haven't seen, I don't want to spoil anything, but it really goes for it. There's some gory sequences, there's some blood, there's some carnage, and all that stuff looks great in that 4K HDR transfer as well. So overall, this is a beautiful transfer in my opinion. I think it looks great. Second Sight is really second to none, no pun intended, as far as their 4K transfers. The Drive 4K transfer was excellent. The Guest that they did last year was excellent. Those are the only three that I've checked out in 4K, but so far they are firing on all cylinders when it comes to the 4K format. They are really doing spectacular work, and I do highly recommend it for the transfer. Getting into the audio, this is where it gets a little weird. So I was looking on Blu-ray.com. I was really struggling to figure out like where the actual like format, like what actual audio is this, what audio setup. I don't think it's Atmos because they're not advertising that on the box or anything. So I'm going back to my Blu-ray, and there is 5.1 DTS master audio available, but on this one, there's like no audio options at all. And I don't know if that means that there are no audio options. There is no surround sound. I am listening to it on a soundbar. Everything sounded good to me. But again, I don't have that surround sound set up, so I really couldn't tell. But going off of this, there wasn't any audio options. Somebody, if you bought this and you want to help me out and comment down below, like, did you have audio options? Let me know, because I'm really kind of confused on that. I was looking on Blu-ray.com. I was looking on the actual movie itself, the case. I went through this entire booklet to see if there was any information. Nothing. So I don't really know where the audio feature is. Or what kind of audio that this release actually has. So if I have to mark anything against this release, it's the fact that they don't have a clear like audio presentation and setup that they're making clear to you as far as the advertisement. I even went on the Second Sight website and there was nothing on there as well. So hopefully they put that out there at some point. It could have been a mistake or something. I have no idea. But getting into the special features, again, Second Sight, they do not short you when it comes to special features, when it comes to supplemental material. There is a brand new audio commentary on here. There are 5 new in-depth interviews with the director, with the cast, and I'm not talking about no low-level cast members. I'm talking about the main cast. Anya Taylor-Joy came back to give like a 15-minute interview. You have Robert Eggers giving a near 30-minute interview. You have Ralph Ianson. You have Kate Dickie come back. You have the kid I don't remember his name, but the kid that plays Caleb in the film. He gives an interview. He's significantly older now. So these are recent interviews that they just shot for this release, and they're all great. I watched every single one of them. Loved them. Loved how in-depth they went with everything. I love the just how humble Robert Eggers is as a filmmaker. He even goes into talking about this movie, and he calls his own movie in this interview. And I don't know if this was for show or whatever, but he calls his own movie in this interview overrated. He's like look, he goes, The Witch is a great movie. I'm not going to say I didn't do good work. It's like people are acting like it's the second coming of Christ, and I don't think it's that good. It's a little bit overrated. That might be him kind of projecting his own insecurities, because I kind of understand sometimes when you make something and people praise you so much about it, you're kind of like, really? Is it that good? So I thought that was kind of cool how he thinks his own movie that everybody regards, I certainly do, as a masterpiece is overrated. But that was a really good interview. The interviews are top notch. Now, there are 2 audio commentaries. This is the one that was included on this with Robert Eggers, and there's another one on there as well. So there's 2 audio commentaries on this release. There is also all the features that were present in the previous Blu-ray and 4K releases are on here as well. So there's also a short film from Robert Eggers in here. There's Q&As just packed and loaded with special features, new special features, which I appreciate. You don't get that out of studios. You honestly don't get that out of a lot of boutique labels either. A lot of times when they have a Blu-ray and they put it out in 4K, they don't add anything new to it. They just port over the same special features from the other one. So I really appreciate that Second Sight went the extra mile and got all these interviews and stuff, supplemental material for this release. I think it definitely goes a long way in just making you feel like you got your money's worth with this release, because this is about $50 to order this one. It might be a little bit more to import. It might be about 55 bucks. It's not as much as a Drive set, but it is about $55 to get this set. So getting into the packaging, top tier packaging by Second Sight. This box set, again, this isn't as big as the Drive box set, but just look at the artwork on that. Look at the spine. You do have this case on the interior. I wish they would do regular 4K cases inside, if I'm being honest, but I'll show you the artwork and I'll flip it again. on the back. And then it has this incredible booklet just kind of talking about the movie and all kinds of stuff. I actually read through about 20 pages of this. It really goes in depth, just talking about the time period back then and just the similarities between the film and that time period and just how accurate they got it. So they go into the casting, just the making of the movie, just plenty of supplemental notes and stuff for you to enjoy and dig into if you want to learn more about the film. And then you got these art cards, which are pretty cool. You got Black Phillip on there. You got the bunny. You got the crow. You got Anya Taylor-Joy right there. You got the house. And you got Anya Taylor-Joy again with the lantern. So some really cool art cards in here. Again, Second Sight just always goes above and beyond. Yeah, guys, that is my review of the VVITCH 4K Second Sight set. I think this is an incredible set. Again, I'm not going to say that everybody needs to go out and get this for 55 bucks. You'll probably be fine if you just get the regular 4K as far as like the look and presentation of it. But if you want to dig into those supplemental materials, if you do have that collector's mindset, you want to own a cool collectible edition with some great packaging in your collection, this is honestly just one of the best that's come out all year as far as special editions. So I cannot recommend this highly enough. And the film itself is great. I don't care what anybody says about it being overrated. Even the director himself, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites of the 21st century. Absolutely recommend that you own it in the collection. So that is my review, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Comment down below your thoughts on this film and this release. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.